Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, some really quite great input there. I think if I were to summarise it in a few words for the video, I suppose it's really about, someone talked about validating your research, understanding that your research is relevant to industry, working with them to solve big problems together, and about impact as well, making sure that our research can deliver benefits. So yeah, some really good points there as well. And I guess what I was really happy about is when I've kind of done these events before, you always get people going, "Why do I want to work with industry?" Because they've got money to give us. And I think that's, yes, they do, and they do fund research, but that it's not often as simple as that. And also, you know, the academics we tend to be focused on, can we get a letter for our proposal, because that'll help us get funded. And I think it's great to see that we're thinking broader than that and actually getting down to the core of why we want to work with industry. Now I'm just going to talk about, so one of the things that always comes up, and a couple of you mentioned this at the beginning, is finding industry partnerships. This was a slide that I did for some colleagues within Nottingham, so there's a few names and contacts there which are only relevant for Nottingham, but you can find the right people. I think the first thing is, so you've decided you want to work with industry, you think it's a good thing to do, and it's the right point to be doing it. Ask for help. So we've got these sessions, we can support as a network, but your university is there to help you as well. So, for example, in engineering at Nottingham, we have dedicated teams around research development. So we have an Innovate UK team who would help us with this. But if you're just looking for partners, find out, you know, get the university to help you. You shouldn't be doing this on your own. Also, within universities, you will probably have a corporate engagement team. You will be able to find someone who manages. So for Nottingham, we have ones based on different sectors. So I know the one for food, and if I'm working on something else, I'll just send them an email and say, look, these are the kind of areas I'm thinking on. Does this seem like it would fit with any of the companies? So it's not all about, you've got to initiate these things, but get support and get help. Second thing is engage with the knowledge transfer network. So fantastic that we've got Nigel from the KTN here today. Nigel does a lot in manufacturing, smart technologies, all those areas that we're all interested in. But if you're not in those areas, go on the KTN website. All the people there are listed, and they all tend to be friendly. Find your area, set up the email alerts so you get invited to the meetings. They run a lot of the meetings for Innovate UK, so when competitions are coming out in your area, but just find your special interest group, your subject area. Find out who the person is and just send them an email. Hi, I'm Nick, I'm working in food. I'm interested in KTN, can we have a chat? They're there to, you know, knowledge transfer network. Networking is part of their job, and they're happy to have those discussions. So find your sector lead, get in touch. Also go to events. So again, Innovate UK events, mainly academics and industry there, run by the KTN. Introduce yourself. They have networking platforms, so you can put on there what you're interested in, what your expertise are, and they will link up with you. So they're the things you can do as well. The other thing as well is think about promoting your research. So press releases are really important. I mean, we don't think about these enough, I don't think. We do some workshops in our groups about promoting research through social media. So I use LinkedIn a lot, and I try and put out if we've done something cool, whether it's a publication or a new grant or new technology, we've been working on some new results, put it on LinkedIn, share it with the community. Press releases are really powerful things. We had the Innovate UK project several years ago where we had two in the same area around sensing technologies for monitoring, optimizing cleaning processes, and I'd got some small money for another project out in Nottingham, and part of that funding was I had to go on a media training course, and you know, I probably wasn't enthusiastic about this at first, but it was a fantastic event and explained press releases. So when we got this Innovate UK project, I thought, right, we're going to do a press release on that. And since we've done that press release, I've probably had 20 plus companies contact me. That it could, because it's one of the first areas using AI in food, it ends up in all the magazines, all the things on AI in food. It's there, there's Nottingham in there, and companies get interested, and it's led to other activities. It also actually is indirectly led with me being involved in Connected Everything, because Sarah Sharples, who runs the network, saw that press release and said, we need to talk, I'm setting up this network. This is 5 years ago, sounds very relevant. So just promote yourself. I know sometimes academics were, not myself, but some can be a bit shy and they don't want to go and do that, but just do it. Again, get the press release, the media team will help you do that. It's not like you have to write it. Like I said, social media, I know lots of colleagues use Twitter other platforms. I tend to use LinkedIn, so you use that. I think as well, we find that industry partners, it's about marketing your research to appeal to industry. So if this is just a quick example related to our kind of cleaning project. So if I was talking to an academic colleague, I would say our sensor technology can detect the presence of organic material on the curved metallic surface with sub-micron precision. So that's what this technology can do. But if I'm talking to industry, I'll say our sensor can monitor and reduce the cost and environmental footprint of cleaning processes by 50%. Think of what Susan just said. For them, it's what's the benefit for them. They're not bothered about the sub-micron precision. They're bothered about how will this improve their processes and save them money, cost. So it's just little things about how you market yourself and the language you use is really important. I think be resilient and have realistic expectations. Not so much now with the COVID, but when I was just starting my academic career, I would go to so many events. I'd probably be at an event a week, traveling around the country, meeting lots of people, swapping business cards, chatting away. And some of these would lead to great things, some wouldn't. So just be realistic. Every time you meet someone, have a coffee, discuss, meet online. It's not, most of the time it's not going to go somewhere. The company's interested, but maybe it's not the right project or they move on. I kind of think 20 interactions leads to kind of one really useful activity. It may be for other people, it's lower and they're more successful or more focused, or maybe that's, as you go through your career, that number gets lower. But you have to just be realistic with your expectation. Every time you meet someone, it isn't going to lead to something. This is my kind of last slide before I think we can go into a Q&A. So my top tips are focus on developing meaningful relationships with mutual benefits. So what I mean by that is think about why does that company want to work with you? We're all well, I suppose I'm not so much an early career researcher now, but most people on this call are early career researchers. What is it that you can do that no one else can do? Or what's your idea that's really different to what everyone else is doing? Because a company, if they are going to go into a new area, they want to find the person with the most experience, the biggest lab. So you've got to do something different for them to actually want to work with you, and start thinking about what it is that you do can solve their problems. So stop thinking, what do I get out of it? That letter of support, co-funded PhD student. Think about what they're going to get out of that. Use the right language. This is really, really important, and put time into developing that relationship. So be patient and realistic of your expectations. Just want to put that message across again. You're not going to meet a company at an event, at a conference, and the next day they're going to say, we're going to fund 2 PhDs and here's a letter for your next proposal. It just doesn't work like that. You're going to spend time talking with them. You might go and visit them. You might do a virtual meeting. You can do a virtual tour of your lab. You might go and present some of their work. They might pick your brain on a few things. It takes time. I've got a colleague from a business school at another university. She says, work with industry, you have to do 10 things for free before you get one thing where it's actual real value to you in monetary terms. So just think of those. Other things as well is, I don't think as academics we spend enough time reading about kind of leadership, productivity, organisation and our own management. But if you get a chance to go on any courses like this, or if you have time to read about it, look into it, because in the business world, networking is so important. There's so many books you can read on it. And just little things like staying in touch. I suppose if I was in sales, it would be called a client management system. But I just have a folder on there with all the kind of companies and all my contacts, and I just occasionally I might see something online and I think, oh, that Nigel will be interested in that. I'll just send him an email. Just keep in touch with them, and I do this with the industry partners. Just see how they're doing. The ones I work with closely, maybe every quarter, so every 3 months, I'll say, look, can we have half an hour just to have a catch up, find out what they're working on, find out what their challenges are now. Really, really important. And so don't just contact them when you feel like you want something or there's an opportunity to work together. I think initially when I was in my early stage, that's probably what I did do. I was only contacting people when I wanted something, and it's just about staying in touch, updating them on things. So we have folders on some of the projects we're working on. We have one-page flyers, just say, hi, we've got this new thing we found. Do you want to have a look? And I guess my final point on that is just consider what you can do for them that doesn't really cost anything, that might be beneficial to them. So some of the companies I work with, I'll ring them up and they'll advise me on challenges, proposals, but they'll also ring me up and go, oh, Nick, we've got we've got, so we do a lot of cleaning and hygiene. So with COVID, it's gone mad, and they'll ring up and say, "Oh, we're looking to put some new kind of UV sensors to purify the air. Do you know anything about this? Can you give us advice?" Or some of them they'll have a bit of a technical report. They just want someone else to look at it. So just be prepared to do things like that. And it's a relationship. You both need to help each other and grow together, because we're all trying to make the world a better place, like Ollie said. So do that. The little star there is just be a little bit careful. I mean, if you are talking about something that is university background IP, make sure you put a CDA in place. Your contracts team can help you that. If it's just an initial discussion, a general discussion about your research, and you're going to talk about published results, so they're published, so you're not going to go pattern them directly in that way because they've already been disclosed, absolutely fine. But if you're getting into something a bit more detailed, chat to your contracts team. Maybe a quick CDA, confidentiality agreement, non-disclosure agreement is worth doing. But that's something you need to get support with. That's my kind of hints and tips.